The thing about chin stand is it's all about posterior chain, hamstrings, buttocks, low back, and it starts from the hamstrings. So with your right knee pressed down into the ground, straighten your left leg by reaching it back. And then as you reach it back, see if you can lift it up without bending the left knee. So don't lift it up like this. Straighten it, reach it back, and lift it up. Now what you're gonna do is kind of use your right hip flexors. Your right knee is gonna press into the ground to help activate your left hamstrings, buttocks, and back muscles. And then you could eventually relax your right hip flexors and try to keep your left leg high. It's very hard. But I suggest in the beginning, just pull your right knee towards your hip and maybe even take your right foot into a stag position, okay? And then release. Okay, again, you can either interlace your hands behind your head or do what I do and just put your fingers underneath the bottom ridge of the occiput there, base of your skull, to give a little lift up to make sure you don't go too far back with the head. Okay, so go forward with the chin, protract it, up with the chin. With your fingers, press up. With your chin, reach up. Slowly lean forward to come out. One thing I didn't mention is I'm keeping my jaw closed. If you open the jaw, it's gonna take the stretch out of the muscles, okay? So keeping the jaw closed, it's gonna pull these muscles upwards, giving you a deeper stretch. So skin a little bit further forward, one foot up. Just like this. Okay, so one foot goes here, and if that's not accessible, what you could do is put your knee on a chair like this, and it's far more accessible, or several blocks or whatever you have, and you do this nice little kind of like a fallen angel sort of position with the foot stacked. If it is accessible, then you could put your feet on the chair instead. Now, a couple of things I should mention. That because this is so high up here, when we go lower with the bolster, in some respects it's going to be a lot easier to do. In others it'll be harder. So you start high, and then as we go lower, it's going to be harder on the throat and the arms, but easier on the legs. Optional. The foot on the chair is much closer in experience than the knee on the chair, but the knee is far more accessible. Those of you that are really itching to do the one where your arms are back behind you, it's the same thing. Okay? The major difference is you don't have the benefit of using your fingers to grip the ground and stop you from going forward. Let's take the blocks completely away first and just see where that's at. Because this is going to require a lot more upper body strength. For me, it's suddenly when you take the blocks and bolsters away, I have to use a lot more upper body strength in order to not put the whole thing into my throat and neck and shoulders and such. So it's a lot of push, 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 like a low chaturanga. Get here. And of course, for it to not be a face plant, you have to really lift the chin. Now the bolster does stop you a little bit from that capacity to be in a full chin stand, of course, and makes it a little more face planty, but at least it kind of gives you some support underneath the body, okay? Because when you go to the next step, you would remove a step up because you don't want to come down on that harshly. Of course, I will show it without the bolster, but no, there's a couple of things that matter here. I find it, because you're so low, it's sometimes helpful to give yourself a little base of support by rolling the elbows in more than you normally would. It's kind of like a cheat because it forces a little bit of stability into the shoulder girdle that otherwise wouldn't be there, muscularly speaking. So if you bring your elbows in a little bit more than you normally would, and really my push is happening through the heel of the hand for this. If you've got a partner, to make sure you're not going to fall over, then it is much more accessible to do this with your feet climbing up the wall. Please don't do it without a partner nearby to make sure you don't tumble over. Make sure your partner understands what you're doing first. So they should be behind you, and they basically need to be able to lift your entire body weight up in the event that something happens. Squeezing the elbows in to start. To be able to get in the chin stand with the arms back like this is Significantly more challenging, okay?